Today, hopefully, is the final day in the Sefer Nefesh Shimshon, and we're on page Reish Pei Zion. And if anyone needs that in English, on page
I think you said 320.
three what? 317?
No, I think it was in like 320 or something.
320. Okay.
320? Something like that. Okay.
I'll tell you what we're about to discuss. What we're discussing is Sudat Shabbos, the Shabbos meal. So 318. 318 it looks like. Okay. All right. So Tfilas Mincha, sorry. Be'ofen klali, kol Sudat Shabbos, mechitzazu dasha shnei dvarim merkazim. There are two central things at the Shabbos meals: Divrei Torah and Zmirot Shabbat. Torah and songs. Hikbid lechol tushis. Those are the two. Reish Pei Zion.
Oh.
Yeah. Those are the two things that are sometimes missing from all of our meals, right? Torah and Zmiros. So Hikbid lechol tish tarvev sichat chulin filukoshi el sudat Shabbat asher kulan avoda ruch nisnala. He would even, I guess, stay away from all types of regular sichas chulin. There's a great sefer that I have that is on Meseches Chulin and the laws of Shchita. It's called Sichas Chulin. It's a fantastic name for a sefer. But
what does it mean in that context?
It means conversations about Meseches Chulin and laws of Shchita, slaughtering. Because Chulin is slaughtering non-sacred meat, like shechting. So the expression Sichas Chulin means talking about things that are not holy, like mundane things like sports or a stock market. But in that context, it's a play on words. Anyway, Mahalach Sudas Shabbos, Omer Livnei Beso, Avortim Shamar B'Droshel, thinking he would say over vorts that perhaps he said over in shul. Famim Gam Hiktim V'Gila Et Hachidushim Asher Atidhu Omer Hem Shachim, or he would preview the Torahs that he didn't say the next day. I've done this. Sometimes I've done this at home, and sometimes the conversation is, well, we could talk about other things other than your drasha prep at home also. But okay, for some people it works. Ma'achar of hikbid, and once he was makbid, he didn't want to bring secular talk into his Shabbos day. He would actually have shorter meals. In longer meals, it's difficult to stay away from mundane talk, which are not proper for the Shulchan Shabbos. His beer, in Hasmiros, the Torah, between the Zmirot and the Torah, Shabbos Malkusa, he would bring out his book that this is based on Shabbos Malkusa. That you should introduce Divrei Torah with Zmir Shabbos with Divrei Torah. Torah. As his Zmiros, he would first start with the Torah, then he would sing Zmiros, and that's what he would do also in the Sudas Boker. By the way, I always struggle. Mine is a technical one. Is how do you get people into Zmiros or into Divrei Torah at the table? It's a hard one. I've always tried the opposite. I always try you sing, and then people are sort of calm, like the Shal Shudas, and then you say Torah. Maybe the opposite works better. Maybe if you sort of, you share Dvar Torah, now everyone's quiet. Now we could say Zemer. Maybe that works. I don't know. Let's try it. We'll try it. Who maybe Gam Chazal Matzinu Shamdu al Hevdil Hamudim and Suda Samshli Yisrael Suda Samshli Umat Olam. The Gemara in Megillah talks about the difference between our meals. This is by Achashverosh. Our meals and the meals of the other worlds, of the nations of the world. Kasher Umot Olam Potchim et Suda Sam Divrei Havadai Havai V'Yil Yisrael Potchim et Suda Sam Divrei Torah. We start our meals with Divrei Torah and Shirot and Tishbachot and songs and praises to Hashem. We learn this from Chazal. Divrei Torah Kod Min L'Shirot Tishbachot. We learn that Divrei Torah should come before words of praise, right? And that's what he did. The Suda Shabbos Hichmir Lakadesh, he was makmir to consecrate Alayayin Dafka, specifically do Kiddush on wine. Gam Kasher Mekadesh Mechutz, so also when he was out of his house. Kemochei Nag Le'echol Dag, Sudam Suda Shabbos, he would eat fish. Gam Kasher Lo Sad Beveso Shabbos, Kigon Shabbos Hashem Shah Mechutz Beveso, Lukshu Dagim Lasuda Saboker, and they didn't have fish for the morning. Who mashtadel asig she'erot hadag. She knows him Shabbos, keep it in his pocket. I don't know what he did with it, but he would he would leave some fish over for the morning for Shabbos Kodesh in the morning, right? So, I've seen people are very mocked about fish. Like me.
Oh,
I love-
meat.
I think people enjoy meat. I think from a halachic reason they want to have fish. Okay.
Yes. Because meat and wine, because it brings you joy, and let fish out.
Yeah. I
Fish
thought
is
that-
fish is Chabad Shabbos.
But
That's
meat and wine is like elevated, like what we
I
do on
think
the.
because the Zmiros say slab dagim,
Yeah.
quail and fish. Doesn't say
Never
cow
mind.
or
Well, no,
Never.
doesn't say bison or I don't know, T-bone steak.
Ribs.
Leitim baruch hu adavar be'ini imot lo tamid hitkabla bakasha ba'avana ulam hulo viter. הרבנית הייתה נכנסת אל מטבח, חשת אולי במקרה נשארה חתיכת דם מאתמול בלילה, he would say, oh, maybe there's by chance a little bit of fish left over from yesterday. אולי נשארו לפחות כמה פירורים, some crumbs maybe. ובכן, על אף שבכל ימות השבוע היה רב רחוק מרחק רב מענייני אכילה, כמו שהעידו בני ביתו שכמעט אף פעם לא התיישב לאכול, אלא אכל אכילת ארעי, בשבס הקפיד לטעום מכל סלט ומכל מאכל שהיה עונה על השולחן בימות החול. הוא לא ישב לאכול, he didn't sit to eat, אולם בשבס משום עונג שבס shani. So maybe he wouldn't even eat during the week at all, but in Shabbos he would. In other words, it wasn't because he was like a fresser and he liked to eat food. He did it because it was the Chavod Shabbos. The proof was that even if he had opportunity to eat more food during the week, he would avoid it.
is that sort of that aesthetic that, it's not aesthetic, it's another word, that starts in there, ascetic or,
Yes.
Asceticism.
yeah, yes, yeah. Where people, purposely, deprive themselves of things
Very common in other
make them
religions.
more holy.
Right. Right.
It's
So,
not a Jewish.
no. He's saying that it sounds like during the week. Look, there are all sorts of reasons not to overeat, right? Health, spirituality, whatever you want to say. They're all go hand in hand. But
Not.
on Shabbos, it says it wasn't that he would not eat at all, but he would refrain from eating certain things during the week. But on Shabbos, it would be something special to him. So, and they would say, basically would say he would not sit down to eat unless or only attempt a little snack here or there. But he was the Shabbos ikbid mikol salat. He would try every salad. Mikol machal hayamuna chal shulchan. I have the Shabbos part down also. I'm in line with him at least in the Shabbos piece. And b'yemot hachol during the week, hu lo yashav lachol. He didn't fight. Lachar suda after meal dog shinaku miyadas shulchan misadr zocheder shel Shabbos. He would worry to clean up the table right away and set it up for Shabbos for the next day. We shouldn't leave dirty dishes and dirty food out and crumbs. It's not a Shabbos table. He was makbid shishar al shulchan meshach kol Shabbos melach challah, but he would leave a little bit of salt and bread. The Kabbalists, the early Kabbalists would have this idea that you leave on the table a little bit of salt and bread. And this, of course, is the shulchan in the Beis Hamikdash. Shulchan shel Adam is mechaper. A person's table is like their shulchan in the Beis Hamikdash. And so that's one of the two reasons why we don't leave a knife on the table during Birkat Hamazon, because you couldn't cut the mizbeach with a metal blade. So it's all part of that idea. And that's why we leave salt and bread on the table. Some people, they clean up the table and they bench. There are those who are makbid to leave bread on the table when they bench, or a little bit of salt on the table when they bench.
We need salt on the table. The bread on the table. Wait, the bread is bench. I didn't remember bread part. I knew you leave the salt when you're benching.
What if you finish the bread?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you.
Because
Sure you
I
say
got
it.
just 1.5 pounds, and another one, so
On the table.
it's a lot of.
Yeah. So, but this is a practice that some people have. Okay.
No, I just.
Gamba shar liyayin. Well, Inyan yuchad shishar liyayin suda. He wanted to leave a little bit of suda yayin from one suda to the next. Ulamida hu nizar me'od shayin lo yishayer megula. Now, the problem with uncovered wine or uncovered drink, there's a prohibition from the Chazal called yain or wines or zund. It's called what do you call it, megula? Opened drinks. Open drinks. The Gemara was concerned that maybe a snake or a scorpion would come. And while it sounds far-fetched to us, if you're living in the Middle East, snakes and scorpions are common. My sister has seen plenty. She's been stung by one. Her son has been stung by a scorpion.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. They live in the desert.
Is it poison?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's fatal?
Yeah. You need antivenom. They keep it in the hospitals. The yellow scorpions. My sister was on her rooftop doing her laundry because they have laundry machines outside because they have less real estate inside. So they do the laundry machine on her roof. And she was pregnant, like 6 months pregnant. She was stung by a scorpion. And my nephew was stung by a scorpion in the sukkah. They were sleeping in the sukkah until that moment.
Oh my goodness.
What do they do? That's like a run to the hospital.
Someone in the group has had the antivenom.
Wait, so why is that still practiced today? Though, if here in America, that's not common.
So Tosos already says that when you have my megulin, that when you have a gzera decree that no longer applies because the reason has been uprooted because it was a danger, but it's not a danger, then the decree doesn't apply. So this would factor in behind my megulin. You could leave something uncovered and drink it; it's not a problem. Or it would be something like washing your hands after a meal, which one opinion is you do it because of the Sodom, the salt from Sodom, which we're not worried about that. So some people don't wash after a meal. So others of the opinion, not like Tosos, that when a Chazal make a gzera, the gzera applies whether the reason is there, the revealed reason is there or not, because Chazal had hidden reasons that they didn't tell us about. So there's this Chai Adam, I think it's Chai Adam Rav Shechter quotes, that there was this dairy that had this delicious frothy milk and everyone liked it, but Chalav Yisrael was like gzera. We only have Chalav Yisrael. We don't drink milk from non-Jewish dairy farmers. so but in societies like Rav Moshe's Heter, where you have pasteurization laws and you have purification laws that you can't serve anything other than cow's milk, safe. You could buy a stam milk and drink it. It doesn't have to say Chalav Yisrael on it. Most of us hold like a lot of us hold like Rav Moshe. But those who are makbits, the story is that they were serving some delicious frothy milk, and it wasn't from pig's milk, but it turns out they were grinding down pig's bones and making like some sort of and so sometimes the revealed reason it protects you from the hidden reason. And when Chazal institute Kalkanos, there's power to that. That's the other approach. So some people are makbid, some people aren't. There's a separate debate whether undoing a gzera. Actually, I joked about this in the Purim Torah. Does undoing a gzera is only undone when the reason had to do with safety and clear-cut reasons, but when there's sort of like a gzera that was done for sort of other halachic reasons that are not based on protection and safety, so you don't have a right to say, well, the reason doesn't apply here. Gzera is made by the rabbis. It applies until you have what's called the Beis Din Gadol Men B'Chacham Minyan, a Beis Din that is greater than the instituting Beis Din in wisdom and in number. So all sorts of rules of how we undo decrees. But anyway, at least in this case, what were we talking about? We were talking about wine. He was makbid not to have my megulin or wine that's uncovered. So anyway, Shematza Gevia Mechasim Yuchad. So Sameach, he was happy when he would find a cup that had a special cover to it, like here, right? So he was happy he could find something with a cover because then you could cover it up. Because you could watch the wine from one sudo without a chashash of giloi, and it was a very expensive Kiddush cup, evidently. It was like a Gavia Shel Admor Rishon. The Rishner had a cup like this that had a special cup covered also. And it was beautiful, apparently. So Suda Shabbos, he was makbid that all people in his household should sit together, and also the girls, the boys and the girls. And when they were wearing Bigdei Shabbos, the Chavod Shabbos, Yesh Lisavish Begadim Lo B'Chalok Asher Hu Beged Bais. And so some times, especially in firm circles, people wear in their house like robes, Shabbos robes. He was saying no. He was makbid that everybody should wear their Shabbos clothing. Shabbos robes is basically fancy pajamas. So he was makbid that they would wear, that everybody should wear the Bigdei Shabbos, your suit, your Shabbos clothing at the meal. It's a very hard thing for a lot of people on Friday night late, but It was important. So he claimed kasher hu eno mit kasher v'nogea lahanhaga zu that um, that he would even insist upon this at Shal Shudas. Gam kasher shulchan hashabbos asmo haiselo hanhaga michadet. We had another practice that was special at his meal. Echam ibanav misaper ki la'achar v'nisei v'chipes shulchan salon beito. Amar lo Avi, when he got married, he was looking for a table. Sorry, I just realized that I'm gonna watch a chasana soon in Israel. Amar lo Aviv ki alav l'dat she'al pi kadmonim yesh inyan she'ashulchan shel Shabbos yeh bal arba regalim dafka, 4 legs. Ineni yodea im davar chashuv l'cha ata lo mitachen be'hemshech yeh davar mashmuti beinecha al ken kedai sh'takana merosh shulchan bal arba regali. I don't know what he was concerned about, 3-leg table or a 7-leg table.
Yes, 2 legs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There could be 3 legs on a side, to help support the middle.
Okay. So he was makbid. I'm gonna get one of those ones on a round ball, so like if they move as you eat, or a lazy Susan table. Whole table. But he was makbid to have four legs in the table. Fine. Now, Chavod Shabbos.
You have those really long tables, you might want the state reception.
Yeah.
Could make.
Yeah.
So bizdamlut hitorer etzlo safek b'inyan hadlakat nero. There was another doubt that came up when it came to lighting candles. Kevin she'ora chashmal gadol, since the electric light was so strong, the Nero Shabbos were not nikarim, they were not recognizable. And there's a famous principle, shraga b'tira ma'ihani, harezeh shraga b'tira. This would be the torch in greater light. Ein oro nikar klal. So there's a whole question, right? Like if I search for chametz using just use the light. So, and I have the light on, what good does a little candle, little flashlight do for me? Because flashlights in a larger room with more light in it is not effective. So he had a suffix by Lakas Neros. So Rabbeinu Matzah Pitron Levayazu. So what did he do? He wanted to benefit from the Shabbos candles, but if you have so much light around, you don't really benefit from the Shabbos candles. So if Shitas Achiezer quotes the Achiezer, who says menorah Chaim Ozer, who says the menorah chashmalit nechshevet afi le'esh. So there's an opinion that electric lights counts halachically like real lights, real fire. So I was presenting this shita in shul. The person is lighting Shabbos candles; they don't have on them candles. Are they yotzi with an electric candle? Is there a difference between fluorescent and incandescent? Usually the belief was the incandescent flame. Someone corrected me and said, no, even incandescents are not a real flame. I said, I'm pretty sure they are. No, it's not. And he was arguing with me. I said, what do you do? He goes, I'm a physicist. I said, okay, well, you're not a chemist, so don't worry, you don't know. I said, physics, is it? Is it physics, chemistry? But he felt it wasn't. But there's an age-old debate. Are electric lights real fire? But the Achiezer believed they were fire. And the nafkaminas are huge. You could make a bracha, halakas ner shel Shabbos, on a little bulb. If you're in a hotel and you can't light a candle, can you make a bracha on the bulb or not? Everyone says that you could lick it on, but the question is, can you make a bracha on it? So he felt that you could do it like that, and because that's the case, so he wanted to set up a special light near the Nero Shabbos. Menorah osa haisa harabanit aleha shalom madlika im hanerot. So when she would light her candles, she would also flick on that light in the honor of Shabbos. Ke'es af she'uram shel hanera lo nikar. And even though the candles of the Shabbos licht were relatively unrecognizable, mikomakom or hamenorah miuchad nikar. The light of that menorah, of that special lamp, was recognizable. Yado hishtamer kavod Shabbos b'meitavo, and that's how kavod Shabbos was watched. Now, the Shabbos kiyadua aserim mispar brachot. We know we have fewer brachos on Shabbos. So how do you make up the 100 brachos? To make up the minyan of 100 brachos, Esek gadol ya osek b'inyan shlomas brachos. Achilas divrei matika. He would try to eat sweet things during the Suda to make up his what he was missing. Like halacha says that if you're eating dessert, so most people say you make a separate bracha at the end of the meal on the dessert. Now, the question of it, certainly if you're going to eat fruit at the end of a meal, you make a bracha. So if you're going to have now for dessert some fruit, you make a separate bracha on the fruit. If you're going to have cake, it's a shiloh. Some people are makbid to make a mazonos after a meal on cake. Some people say you don't make a special bracha on cake. But fruit or candies, yeah, absolutely. Even like a sweet tea or a sweet dessert wine, you make another bracha. It's a dessert. It's a separate. Yeah, if you're having like
You're
a tender,
expecting to have that dessert.
yeah, you would make a separate bracha on the dessert. It's not part of the meal. It's a dessert. Make a shakol or you make a yeah.
I knew about fruit. I didn't know.
It's the same concept. It's mina mentika, sweet. So the difference between if someone's serving like cantaloupe versus watermelon, you make a bracha on can't you wouldn't make it a bracha on cantaloupe. Like sort of maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't really know. I think you could argue that it's dessert also.
How do you say?
Well, you might make all of them. I'm just giving different opinions there.
Fruit, same as almost fruit. No, okay. So it depends on.
But you say them all, okay, but if you're having like a couple at a time, you'd make them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just saying that, right, if you're having a few of them, I'm just saying there's different opinions of what constitutes part of a meal versus dessert.
Of course, you have it in mind that that's going to be part of your meal. Like dessert will be included.
The question is, can that work? Is it really part of the meal? Is it separate? Think about this. When you're sitting at Rosh Hashanah night, you have your Simani Milsa, and you bring out the apple nani. What do you make? What bracha do you make? But you just made hamotzi.
But I learned we always say how you.
So why? It's dessert. It's dessert. It's mina matika. It's not part of the meal.
Oh, it's because fruit is usually not part of the meal.
Right. So it's because it's like any type of sweet thing. Right. It's part of a larger category. Right. So
Says bit, so that you'd have snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So you would add new brachos in. So that's how you get to 100. בתקופה מסוימת, על מנת לא לשכוח לקיים את זו בשלמת בערב שבס, הם מכין כוס ובו פתיתי במלווה, bamba. You would have pieces of bamba, I guess. You don't have million
Yes.
brachos xeros. So you would have little pieces of bamba, I guess, as a snack. B'chol pam bo hosif Shabbos bracha me'avar lebrachot hashigratiyot. He would add brachos onto the regular brachos. Bracha asher hashira et minyan brachos, which would enhance or add on to the number of brachos. Hayamavir makos pat pitit echad shel bamba. You take one piece of bamba out, el hakos acheret, to the other cup. Kak osaad shelo nosropsis bamba, ekos hamakoret, and he would do this to a different cup until there were no more bambas left in the original cup. Uvda asher hayabal lulamed he michsat me'abrachot ushlama. So I guess he would do that and he would break it up, make a new bracha in some way, so that he would have his 100 brachos. Now, I'm not sure really how he divided it up, but he would probably wait 72 minutes to have another piece of bamba. I don't know. You ever eat bamba? Can't wait 72 minutes in between joints. You have one, you have to have more.
Yeah, it's addictive.
Yeah.
It's
It's the sodium.
Yeah.
And they wanted to kill off children, right? Well, the allergies. So there was a Jewish comedian a number of years ago, a rabbi speaking. It's very funny. He's talking about how during the Gulf War, when they had that kids in Israel are not allergic to peanut butter, right? So during the Gulf War, when they all had to wear these gas masks, they discovered these little holes in the front of them to let the filter the air. Kids were trying to put bamba in the holes of the so he was mocked at an additional element. He wouldn't read secular books in Shabbos Klal. He would have leftover books, I guess, for the bathroom. Also, those bathroom books would be prohibited on Shabbos in his eyes. Since Shabbos, Beis Hamikdash Shleimos HaShavua, Savar Ki Chol HaKnas Es Chulin El Shabbos Harei B'chinas Chil Kodesh. So it'd be Mechal Chil Kodesh. Okay. Now, last piece, Malav Malka, appropriately. So as we end Shabbos, Rabbeinu Nizhar B'Myuchad Lechol B'Chol Shavua Sudas Malav Malka. He's Makbedit Malav Malka. In this Suda, V'Mishtadam Od Lechol Ma'achal Asher Yuad Mechachila Avura. We try to eat something special for that meal. It wasn't just leftovers. That's for Sunday night. He would drink a little bit of water, new water, that has not been prepared or poured from Erev Shabbos. This is actually from the Ramah. Okay. Mispar ha-hizdamnut itlabet, ha'im mutar lahashir ochel mishabes tzorach suda milav malka. Can you leave over food from Shabbos from milav malka or not? Kasher hitlabtut zu nogat beikar ledagim, asher osir miuchad misuda shlishi l'tzorach motzi Shabbos. When you would have fish that were left over from, he loves his fish, from Shal Shudas to Motzi Shabbos, Hareani wrote to Lechol Ata, Besuda Shlishi, so I want to eat the Shal Shudas as a dog. V'chein, Mosa or Li, Tiru, Tzorach Lamaka, Shemitzad Sheni, Gam Sudas Malamaka, he Lichvoda Shal Shabbos. He says, why can't I eat this Malamaka? Malamaka is in the honor of Shabbos. He's Mistapechol Pamechadash. So you'd have this question, can I leave over intentionally from Malava Malka? After all, Malava Malka is part of the Kavod Shabbos. By the way, this actually raises a deeper halachic shaila, not just a question of Kavod Shabbos, of honor of Shabbos, but you're not allowed to prepare for Motzei Shabbos, right? Everyone knows that. Can't be mechin from Chol from Shabbos into Chol. Can't prepare from Yantif onto Yantif, or Yantif onto Chol, or Yantif to Shabbos. So are you allowed to leave things intentionally on Shabbos for Malava Malka if Malava Malka, he's saying, is a din in Kavod Shabbos? That's interesting, right? So it's like it's an interesting question. Maybe since Malava Malka counts, so you're not, okay, you can't set up for the concert, fine. But, set up the chairs for the concert, you can't do that. But can you,
It's still after show.
right, you can't order your pizza on Shabbos, right? But can you have food that you're going to put out in such a way? There's another question, right? That's really in the Kavod Shabbos. So again, practically speaking, probably not, but he's raising at least an interesting question.
So we practice, we don't do it.
No, we don't set up, but he at least would question whether if I have fish left over, I'm going to think I'll eat some later on. It's in the honor of Shabbos. So that's not an issue of hachana. That's an issue of just having special food. He would try to eat malav malka before midnight. In his final years, he would eat it right away after Havdalah. So he would eat right before midnight, but then as he got older, he'd eat it right after Havdalah. But there was the winter or the summer. Lamas is a harbi yoser kal is a lot easier. Kach nimna chashash ne matzav shochem sof leechol suda chashuva. If you wait a couple hours and you realize it's almost midnight and you haven't eaten your malava malka yet, you miss out. So he would try to eat right after Havdalah. Hitim masbir. I'll give you another example, by the way, where we treat malava malka with the din of Shabbos. In Kolel, in Marsha Kolel, there was a psak that on Motzei Shabbos of the 9 days, if you have meat left over from Shabbos, can you have meat at malava malka? There was a discussion. Many people say you can. Many people say you may. Again, I practically don't tell people to do that, but many people say you can because it's all part of Kavod Shabbos. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Edward says he told me once he does that also. He eats meat. I have to ask him, but
From 11 months, like for Shalosh Shudas.
after 9 days, Shabbos, for sure you can. It's Shabbos.
Yeah, right.
But Rebecca was the other day say that if we eat a lot during the day like Shabbos, for Melame Malga, it's not necessary to have a meal, but if you have a cup of coffee.
So practically you have to have, but you have to have something l'chabad malka anyway.
Okay.
Okay. So shochem masov l'chol. So sometimes you would forget to eat it. Hit him, but his very taste. And you remember the en kan ela inyan shel hergal bavad. Ashalachar sheruch shimoso kala saga. So when you get into the habit of eating, you're not going to forget to eat your malava malka at that point, because you right away, right after Shabbos, you open up the food and you start to eat. Okay. And once you get used to doing that, it's easy, even if you're full. As soon as malava malka, nog leechol im bnei beso, malava malka you eat with his family. I don't know anyone is malva to eat malava family. Usually just grab pizza and go to your phone. But the af hidlik litvoda nerot, it's really sad. You could observe, and you only realize how twisted we all are when you see another family doing this. When you go and you sit down and you watch a whole family, they're all like this, and they're just eating on their own. There's no interactions. You have to should force today, remove the phones from the room, remove all devices from the room, and talk to each other and look at each other.
We used to have a rule when my grandkids used to come over.
Yeah, but most people are not careful about that and they forget. So after so he eat with his household, and they would light candles on Motzei Shabbos. To give it a chashuv feel. After a tchusha shel Zilzul Klaveh. I know some people who they take the Havdalah candle and before they extinguish it, they light the Shabbos candles again. Motzei Shabbos. Nug, Zamers Mirot, sing songs like Eliyahu Navi, Hamavdim and Kodesh Chols. And my favorites are Motzei Shabbos, Motzei Yom Menucha. Al Hagazu Lo Viter B'Shum Matzav. He did not give him any matzav. Gam kasher tas l'chutzlarts. Even when he went to chutzlarts, Motzei Shabbos, on Motzei Shabbos, he would be, his daras meod. He would be very careful in the suda. Well, his speak lashir at his mirot. He wouldn't stop singing his miros in the suda alone. V'lo shakach lakachat imos mirot Shabbos. He would take with him a little pincher that has miros in order that he could sing on the plane if he had to fly Motzei Shabbos. So you imagine leaving Motzei Shabbos, you have a scholar residence in the States, and you're flying back Motzei Shabbos, and you have your little miros with you just so you could sing along a little bit of Malavamav. Okay.
Yeah.
Mazel tov on completing Nefesh Shimshon.
Very.
And then we will now go.
Yours or mine?